time before. My job is to somehow make them curious enough or persuade them by hook or crook to get more aware of themselves and where they came from and what they are into and what is already there, and just to bring it out. This is what compels me to compel them, and I will do it by whatever means necessary.
Hello, esteemed guests, colleagues. How you guys doing? This is your boy M Dot, and this is Step Into the Light, Step Into the Mic podcast. We got a very special guest in the building, Miss Asia Tillison. I'm gonna chop it up with her. We're gonna have a great discussion, great dialogue, and we'll go from there. So, Miss Asia, please introduce yourself to the esteemed guest.
Yes.
Talk about yourself.
Hello, everyone. Again, my name is Asia Tillison. I want to say thank you to M. Dot and his podcast for inviting me on the show today. A little bit about myself. I'm a native of Wilmington, Delaware, born and raised. My grandmother raised me majority of my life. I'm currently a social worker. I do currently do work in Wilmington, Delaware, and also in PA. Some of my hobbies. I love art. I like to sing, even though I can't sing. I wish I could. I felt like I was a singer in my past life. But if my friends tell you the girl can't sing, I don't got no vocals. But my grandmother, it runs in the family, so I'm surprised it wasn't me. But that's another thing. But yeah, that's a little bit about myself.
All right, so talk about, you know what I mean, because I know, because I follow you on Instagram, I
Yeah.
follow your other pages as well, and I see a lot of the good work that you're doing. So talk about your latest projects that you got coming on. That's pretty much like taking things by storm, and how you got everybody doing the whole thing with the dream book and getting that ready. You know what I mean, doing that whole thing about getting things done. Go ahead, talk about that.
Yes. So my book is going to be coming out soon. Dream Her Vision. It's a vision board workbook targeted to high schoolers and young adults, but also younger students. Is open to read. It's an easy read, straightforward. What inspired me to do the book from my upbringing and some of the struggles I encountered as a child. I always knew I wanted to be bigger than what I came from. Like I had allowed the challenges I faced as a child, things that I seen and things like that. I never wanted to be a product of my environment. I always wanted to be better. And it influenced me to always work harder, 3 times X, especially just being a Black African American woman. And then the oppression we also face with that. You always know you have to work a little harder to even get farther in life. So a lot of factors influenced me, but I also want to inspire other young women, girls where I came from Wilmington, that if I can do it, you can always do it too. I feel like as a child, I created that energy for me, a vision and a better life for myself, right? Like it's like Asia. Someone had recently asked me, Asia, what did you put on your vision board for you to um that end up coming true? And I was like, honestly, I've been envisioning what I wanted for myself since I was younger, because what I seen, what I was around, I knew I wanted better for myself. So that was like, wow, that was like wow, that's deep. It cuts deep. If I go into details and I learn, if you guys know a little bit more about me, right? And I guess through this podcast, you're going to get a chance to know a little bit more
Absolutely.
about me. But yeah, so that's a little bit about the dream workbook. Um, Due to the recent passing of my grandfather, I'm gonna push it back to like next week. Um, but it's
Sorry for your
honestly
loss.
final stages. Final stages. He passed this past weekend, last weekend, and we just had the memorial service yesterday. So I know even with him, he will still want me to push forward and things like
Yeah,
that. That was my baby, but I know he's looking over me and he's here supporting me through this process too. So
absolutely. That's your angel right now. You got an angel
yeah.
looking after you. Wow, that's a lot. Wow, that's a lot to unpack. So we're gonna switch gears real quick, right? Because you're talking about a lot of people that had influence in your life, your grandmother, your grandfather who just passed. Rest in peace to him. So talk about, who inspires you as you were growing up, right? Because you talked about being a Black, strong African American woman, having to work 10 times harder to kind of push yourself to get to those goals that you strive for, right? So who inspired you to be like that? Because you talked about like, oh well, growing up, I've always had that into me, but I've had people push me as well. Who were those people that kind of pushed you and inspired you?
Yeah, so my grandmother, she's definitely, I can say she was a big influence, knowing that like she took my mother due to my mother challenges, mental health and substance abuse. My mother was in and out of my life. More so currently she's like, I'm like the parent instead of she's the child.
Right.
So, and we had a rough childhood due to that, but my grandmother's took care of my siblings, most of my siblings, majority of our life due to that. And just for her to put her life on hold to kind of raise us, that says a lot about that. And then just being raised by your grandmother, that's a different feel, different love. She tried her best. She also had her struggles and things like that. But one thing for sure, she always tried her best, have roof over our head, provide for us. Even though she provided over Section 8, but it was like it
Right.
did what it had to do at that time.
Right.
Yeah. And so just for her being strong and put her life on hold for us, that was something that was really significant to me in my childhood. But throughout that, I also connected with awesome people that took me in as their own child. Yeah, so I always call her second mom. Miss RG was very influential in my life, still is today. I call her second mom, but just having those connections was very important to me, and having being able to participate in youth development programs as a child was helpful, because then I was exposed to different resources and see what you don't have to be like those that those that surround you and things like that. You can be better, and this is what it looks like. So it's like actually part three fold to that, but I feel like just being inspired and want to envision a better life for myself was one thing. Then my grandmother, then other connections I met throughout my lifetime. But I feel like one person in media that I love is Milano de Rouge. I love her. I think also just because she's from Wilmington, I'm at West Philadelphia, I believe so. Hopefully that's right. And just what she stands on. She stands on just wanting better for herself, her family, and things like that. And she was like I was on like one of her video chats and lives, and she was like talking back to me. And I was like, oh, she's down to earth and things. And this was like years back, but I could always remember I had talked about like my issues with not like owning into like my passions and things like that. And also I always struggle with, I feel like I'm really gifted with a lot of things.
Right.
So what to do first? And she was like, I always done that too. I did hair, I did this, I did that. And I was like, wow, that's me. Like if anyone knew me, I sold clothes before.
Right.
I always got different jobs. I'm always doing a million one things. It's like, Angel, what do you really do? And I actually I feel like what I think I like to do is just fulfill my soul purpose. And I feel like you gotta go through those chapters, learn yourself a little bit more what you like and dislike. Yeah. Some people go off with just the one thing they think at the time that's for them. And honestly, like I know for me, one thing was always for me is motivating and supporting young women, right? And I think due to all the challenges I faced, I always knew that was the one thing. But I also have all these other likes. I like to model. I like to be behind the camera. I like to be the model. Like I like to do both. Yeah, so I like to do a million things, and I think you should never let someone put yourself in a box. You can do everything you want to do. So
wow. So you must be part Jamaican, because you was listing off like 10 jobs.
No.
I think that work ethic is crucial, and I think your grandparents kind of shaped you to kind of have that, and that is very, very, very good that they did that for you. And I think for me too, I think grandparents are essential in that molding of your life. You know what I mean? Especially if you have one that is so in your life that it's like, damn, you can learn a lot from this person because they've been through so much. They got so much time. They're wiser. They're older. They have so much knowledge to give you, and they kind of got little qualities to pass down to you as well. So I think that is very crucial, in our lives as young people to kind of have that. So that's what's up. I kind of, you said a lot in that, and you know what I mean.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, you're good. I'm trying to unpack it, but you talked about Milano Del Rouge, right? Isn't that the girl that wasn't she with Meek Mill at one point?
Yeah, she was with Meek, and all that stuff happened with Nicki Minaj. I love Nicki Minaj too. Don't get me wrong, that's my girl. So, but yeah.
Okay, I just wanted, and she's the one that got the clothing line, right? Milano.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I was thinking about the right person. Okay. Yeah. So now we're gonna dive into some quick shooter questions, Asia. Okay. So, I moved to Delaware 2001, right? You know,
Okay.
I went to Wilmington High. So that's my alumni. Smoove is not here right now, but he went to Wilmington as well. We're both Delaware. There he is. Smoove's in the building. There he is. Bro, you muted, bro. You muted. There he is.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
What's
Hey.
happening, people? Look, I'm sorry I showed up fashionably late. My old lady just got in town, so it's we've been all over the place. And yeah, I'm back. But I was able to catch some of your story though, Miss Asia. So yeah, I was listening.
All
I
right.
was listening. Can y'all hear me? Oh, there we
Yeah,
go.
we can hear you, bro. You kind of lagging a little bit, but we can hear you.
Okay.
All right. So I was about to get into the rapid fire questions with Miss Asia. Like I said, she unpacked it a lot. She definitely had a tumultuous. Childhood, and she kind of went through a lot. But the person that she is now is very strong and influential, and you know, I think she's taking the city by storm, and I think she's coming up and doing great things. You know what I mean? Especially inspiring the youth. So, Miss Asia, right? What was it like growing up in Wilmington? What part of Wilmington are you from?
I'm from East Side of Wilmington, East Side
East
9th
side, shout out to
Street.
East side.
Yes, I was born in Compton, Compton townhouses. So I actually, so for me, like I actually played in the neighborhood. We had block parties and stuff growing up. Yes, the community things was happening going on, but in another part, it was like I was still able to play outside. Like I was still able to play dodgeball. I was able to play tag and things like that. Yes, I got in some trouble doing things I wasn't supposed to do, fights and stuff. Younger, that's not me no
Who
longer. But I
doesn't?
did
Who
experience
doesn't?
those things, right? I did experience those things. Um, but yeah, I definitely grown to better evolved woman, right? But those things that happens, right? So, but I did see things. Um, like gun violence and things like that. That was always part of the community, as of what I know was aware of. Also, drugs in the community things. Um, but I feel like I had safe havens, right? And this is another topic I discussed inside my book. Like my Eastside Mount Carmel, that was my church home as a child. And that was like they had Stop the Violence Coalition programs every Friday night. And that was targeted for originally young males to come and play video games and stuff like that. And so, you know, so they have a safe haven, safe place for them to go. But then also girls start to go. So we started to do workshops and stuff there and learned about what was going on in the community and how we could be a better product of our community, right? Contribute in a great way. So that was the start of my involvement there. Um, but yeah, and also I see my life in chapters because it's like a little part, a couple years, I was like, okay, it was good. And these chapters, it wasn't so good, right? So I feel like a transition happened in my timehood when my grandmother herself wasn't got sick for a little while and she couldn't take care of me. And then that made me have to shift around to like aunts and uncles to like support us at that time.
Right.
Another shift was a part when my mom and grandmother was like going to court trying to fight to get custody of me and my siblings, right?
Jesus.
So I experienced that as a child. So I honestly just see myself as chapters, right? It's just I could talk all day about my childhood. It's like it goes long and deep, right? But and I also could talk about a lot of things that I've done since then.
All right. So hold on. Let me throw this out there, right? So you grew up in the city, right?
Yeah.
And now you still live in the city, correct?
Close to it. Yep.
Close to it. So probably like Newcastle County, probably North Wilmington.
Like Governor, it's like Upper Governor Prince, but some
Okay.
people see it differently. Yeah.
So, you know, being living in the city all your life, you know what I mean? What do you think? What do you think could benefit this city right now? Because the city needs a lot of help. It's dealing with a lot. What do you think could benefit it right now?
I guess for more leaders like myself to go in and talk to the community and let them know exactly what's going on, right? I feel like we do have people that's in position, right? But also the people that we elect that's in position don't always carry our wishes or want the best for us. Sometimes it's greed that gets in the way. You seen with this past pandemic, a lot of organizations was giving a lot of this money. Do I see that the money was given to the population that was the most in need. No, I don't really see we don't really, I feel like the inner city don't really see that money.
Right.
It goes to nice buildings and making it look nice, but it doesn't really dig deep into the root of the issues.
Right.
Systematic racism is really deep. It runs deep in our school systems. It runs deep. Even if you go to, like, I went to Bancroft, I went to Warner because I lived in Northside for a little while. I went to Warner, and I also experienced going to a school called West Park. And that was because the feeding patterns changed so much when I was in like elementary school and things like that. And that's like another thing with the school districts and stuff. But the inner city schools don't get the best resources. If you go out Middletown, they got the banks in their school, nice food options in their schools, and then you go to our schools, like, what's going on? And then it's like this gap of like, is our students learning what they're supposed to learn? But if the district spew in more money to these vulnerable populations and things like that, it's so much things that's systematic racism that goes on, that been rooted in for so long with redline and things like that. It goes way back, years way back, of why it's structured the way it is. And it's just like, it goes on like how the schools go about funding themselves. It's about like home taxes and things like that. And if you're not owning your home and Wilmington, it's like, how are you going to pay into your school? So it's just a lot of things. Sorry, I could go on and on.
No. You brought a lot of good points. Like, literally, I'm listening to you, and you're coming with a lot of knowledge and a lot of facts to what you're saying. Like, that's all important, because that does depend upon, you know, the taxing and property tax, everything that goes to purchasing, making the school better and everything like that. So if there's no money, if people don't have money to put into that, then it's kind of like, it kind of stuck. But then again, that's another game with a systematic racism, like you talked about. So you bringing a lot of knowledge, Asia, and I do appreciate that. Go ahead, Smoove. I know you got a couple questions from Miss Asia.
Nah, I was actually blown away. I wasn't I wasn't like you said, I wasn't expecting that either. That was a great answer, especially when you mentioned red line. Like, nobody really talks about that. And then me personally, I don't really. I'm from the South. You already know redlining and the segregation and all that stuff was real. You know, the further up north you go, it's a lot more diverse. But Wilmington, for example, it's always seemed real diverse. So I didn't think that, you know, it would be some type of disparity in the schools like that. But I mean, I guess so. I mean, it is the city, and then Middletown, obviously, that's where all the money is. It makes a lot of sense.
So let me ask you this question, Asia. Right? Do you know Dr. Umar Johnson?
Yeah, so I am aware of him. I listen to some of his podcasts and stuff like that.
Okay, hold on. So you know 12th Street, right? You know 12th Street, where they got, you know, Gander Hill and all that down that street.
Mm-hmm.
Does he have a school there or not? Because I'm trying to find a school. I'll be going around trying to look for a school. Is it there or not?
My understanding, we purchased another building more so on another side of north side. That's what I thought it was, but I have to relook into that to be sure. Yeah.
Because I'm thinking, like, since you in the city and you kind of know a lot of the players, you would know, like, if he's building an all black school, you would kind of know, like, oh, all right, bet he's doing this, because you're in the game, you kind of know. But if you don't know, then I don't know if that thing real.
Man.
So for me personally, I can say it's weird. Like, I feel like my last couple years I worked in PA, so I do part-time work in the city. So this year I'm transitioning, putting my feet back in the ground to learn more about exactly what's going on in Wilmington. So so it's kind of like I know a lot of people, I do a lot of things in the community, but I don't really know exactly who really playing the game at this moment. But yeah. But hopefully throughout this new year, I'll definitely figure out what's really going on.
Yeah, please let me know if that school is real or not. Because every time I look on Instagram, he got a video of him throwing water on himself. I don't know what that's about, but I don't know. They say he's on the crack, but I hope not. Dr. Umar Johnson is very influential, and I think he's a good representation of being a Black leader. But I think his character gets misrepresented by the media and by himself, because he does a lot of different things. But let's shift from the comedic aspect of it to more questions. All right, so kind of, did you ever kind of see yourself being the person you are now? Like growing up, did you ever say to yourself, I'm going to be the person that gets my degree in social work, comes out with a book, starts influencing and leading the individuals that, are coming behind me? Did you ever see yourself as that person?
So for me personally, I knew. So honestly, in high school level, I was like, honest, it was a hard patch. I feel like we was living in an apartment. Me and my siblings was like sharing rooms and stuff. I was like, listen, I might even drop out, go work and things like that. At that time, I didn't really even see myself even completing high school, more so possibly getting a GED because of the struggles I was facing at that time.
Right.
But then my grandma was like, they was pushing me like, she always pushed education was a kid, but it's like, you can say that, but when you live in certain hardships, it's hard to be like, I'm gonna go get my education. That was the last thing I was thinking about. Even when I was going to school, I was like struggling academically because I was dealing things emotionally with my well-being due to things I was encountering, going through, and transitioning through. So it's kind of like my grades suffered. Like I probably graduated with like a 2.7, and some people was like, "Oh, that's not bad." But for you to get into colleges and good colleges that's at that, it's kind of like, all right.
What
like,
high school did you go to?
So again, that goes back to my childhood. I went to Newark, Glasgow, and Wilmington. So I actually graduated from Wilmington, yes. So we could go and dive deep into what that was like on another day, because that's gonna be more in depth too.
You went to all the three.
Yes, yes, I did. Honestly, in my book, I touch on like between middle school and high school, I moved 6 times.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
And that's yes. So that impacted my academics, that impacted my friendships and things like that, stability. Like, and I lost friends because I didn't really express to people what I was going through, right? We battled with homelessness, living with other people, things like that. My grandmother wasn't able to pay, rent and things like that. And we had like support from her son. My uncle took us in for a little bit too and tried to do the best he could, but it's kind of like, it was like hardship for him too. So I experienced a lot, I could say, in my younger years. But yeah, I graduated from Penn.
Yeah. You know what? And I was going to ask you earlier, because you was talking about how it was for you growing up, and the different things that you went through. So for you to be at where you're at today, right? Like, how did you prepare yourself mentally? Because I know that had to be exhausting. I know it had to be.
Honestly, I just wanted better for myself. My faith, I think, kept me going. My faith, just knowing that if I'm going through this, I'm supposed to do something greater. I don't know what that's supposed to be at that time, but I just want to be better than what I am today and be able to be a inspiration to my family. Like, they went through generational stuff like alcoholism, substance abuse, things like that. I seen that. Like, my grandmother, yes, she went to college, but due to racism and things she faced, she didn't even, like, she probably did one semester or even nothing like that. So, but my mom personally didn't even finish 8th grade. So it's just like, I have, so like, people be like, if I really sit down and talk about things and unpack the things, it's just like, I really had to, my faith, staying strong on my faith, be able to envision something greater. Like, I went through these challenges for a reason. And that would kind of inspire me to work with the youth. I knew, like, in some shape and form, I was going to work with the youth. My first job was working at a church camp. They do the summer youth programs, and I was able to get a job when I was 14. So I was working in camps and daycare since I was 14 years old. So every summer I have a summer job. And I was like, all right, when I go to college, possibly one day I could be on my own daycare, because I love kids. I love doing youth programming and development. I feel like I could do that like with my eyes closed, because I did it since I was 14. Like, I got long history in doing things like that. And I feel like I have a great approach working with the youth and things like that. And plus with my experiences and things I had faced. But yeah.
Nah, that's dope. Nah, I respect it.
Wow. So Miss Asia, what led you, I know you speak about it earlier, but kind of touch on it again. What kind of led you to create this book, your book, Dream Her, the ultimate guide to making your dreams come true, which is, let me just reiterate for the listeners, the women listeners that we have and the men, if they want to purchase it as well. The book is dropping later. You know what I mean? Once she gets a release date, we'll inform you guys. But it's coming out. It's dropping. But what led you to create this book?
Um, Again, just inspires, influence young women and whoever wants to read the readers to know that they could be anybody they want to be. And you're that person. You just got on your gifts that was given to you, right? And know your why, right? Know what fuels you, knows what you want to do with yourself, and be able to create that energy for yourself. I feel like for me, for a long time, it's like I just wanted better. I kept saying I want better for myself. I knew I wanted better for myself, right? And I think that creates energy to continue to push forward in different chapters of your life, right? So what is better, right? So once every time you hit one milestone, you're like, all right, I could do more than this, right? So I feel like through my childhood, that's what I kept doing. It's like, all right, I feel like I always knew like I'm gonna work with you, right, in this type of aspect. But I guess every opportunity I receive and things like, all right, that vision got bigger. I started to get scarier, right? And I'm like, all right, I could do that too. I could do anything I put my mind to. So I think with this vision board, it's just to continue to create that energy you want for yourself, right? On like alongside with your faith and whatever your beliefs and systems are and things. But I believe with those two combined, you can put anything what you put your mind to. But then I also think it's like you are your dream person right now. You just got to own on to those gifts and your skill set and change that mindset you're carrying with yourself, right? And I feel like you have to change your mindset no matter what you're going through at this time. You just want, like, listen, I'm that girl, I'm that guy, I'm gonna be this person, and you have to own it. And even if that have to takes for you to say that stuff in the mirror every day, wake up and say those affirmations to yourself every day, like, and continue to walk on that. And I feel like you're just creating that energy and you're speaking it into your life. I feel like so much stuff I spoke into my life, I didn't see it. I never saw it. Like, again, like I shared, my mother, she didn't finish 8th grade. So for me to even complete high school was like a big thing for our family. Yes, my older brothers and sisters completed high school, but that's where they stopped. Like, so for me to be like, well, I finished high school. Like, yeah, it was a struggle, but I finished. And then like I went to go get my bachelor's degree, went to get my master's degree. Now I'm showing my little sister, not only you could do it once, you could do it twice. And maybe in the future, I could go get my clinical license in social work or get my PhD. But now I'm telling my next generations, once I have kids, not only you could beat these other generation harshes we had as a field, you could now get 2 degrees if that's what you want to do, or pick up a trade. Because I'm not going to say everyone doesn't have to go to college, but doing something next step is important, like trade school. Like, it's a lot of famous barbers now, hairdressers and nail techs and things like that. But I feel like whatever you can do for yourself to move yourself to the next level is an awesome thing.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That was deep, yo. That was wow. I'm blown away.
I'm glad you mentioned folks getting in the trade as well, because people don't, think about that. It's either school or nothing else, but you can use your hands and make money. It's really not hard. That's dope. So one of my questions for you is, like, as a social worker, what are the pros and cons of your job? And I'm asking from a sincere, point of view, because I plan on becoming a psychologist.
Wow.
One day, and I'm in school for it now.
Awesome.
Thank you. So I'm super curious on that lifestyle. Break that down, please.
Okay. So for me, the pros, right, is being able to connect and uplift people, right, and help them with their goals and prepare them and connect them to resources to move to the next level, right? But then the cons is sometimes the feeling of burnout. You're not able to let people, like, you could give them the resources, but that does not mean they're going to use them. But then it also goes in line to, like, what's going on mentally with them, like what other things. For me, it's like meeting a person where they're at. Sometimes, and depending on what job you have, they strain you to drag them to the next level when they're not really ready, right? So it's also trying to find that job or find that opportunity that really will stand on your own beliefs. Because honestly, I did child welfare once I got my master's, and it drained me on a personal level, where personally, because I experienced so much things that these same children experience, and I still was able to live in my home with my family. So it was hard for me to be that person, come in and say your family is not doing what they need to provide and things like that, when they're trying to do their best with themselves, with the opportunities and resources that they have. So I was like, I really felt like I was doing disservice after a while when I end up reflecting, because I was like, it took a toll on me emotionally. Then I found out like I could serve these same children, even though I always wanted to, in a different aspect, because I felt like I was doing more damage into the Black community than I was doing uplifting. So I think looking into those different opportunities, like you won't really realize that at first, but then when you really dig deep into these systems run deep, and you start to have an open mind to what's really going on. It's kind of like, man, I should never even done that. I feel bad, like in a way, it's like consciously, like it's like you think you're doing the right thing. And then when you dig deep into what's really going on, it's like the systems even play the leaders, like they playing us to feel like this is the way it's supposed to go. And it's like, nah. So I had to leave, honestly. So I could get emotional, but I tried my best to do what I could do with the children there. But you see, through these like medical fields and things like that, like you can't trust these systems, what they taught us in this books. You have to have an open mind, different perspective about what's really going on. Yes, you hold on to your beliefs and things, but you always have to have your own education, your own beliefs to carry you on the way. And that's, you know, even as a social worker, and then when you go into your clinicals and stuff like that, to realize that, you know, they have put these stigmas and stuff on us, and these names and these labels, right? And it's just like, depending on your beliefs, it's like, okay, they could say that it is, but that's not all I am.
Right.
So yeah, so it digs deep.
Wow. I am blown away.
Yo, that's like
dropping gems, son.
For real.
I'm sorry, I could go deep. Like I'm really like another level. I'm a deep person.
That's how it should be though, especially like in your line of work, right? Because you have to connect with people, like you said, and you know, mentally you want to figure out what's going on, like why is this in place and what's affecting this person that's making, you know, everything works together. And it's really crazy once you start picking apart the pieces and figuring out, you know, this is what's really happening. So little Johnny can't go home because of, you know, whatever. So it's crazy. It's crazy.
So Ms. Asia, right?
Yeah.
I can already derive. I'm not even gonna ask you this question, but I can derive that your passion comes from something very deep, and it comes from within. It comes from your faith. It comes from your family. It comes from the generational trauma that you've seen, and you're pushing that forward to kind of break those barriers. And I've already seen it, right? Well, let me ask you this, right? If you had an unlimited amount of resources, right, what change would you promote? What would be your first thing if you was like, because I know from your background that you're trying to do a political fellowship and everything like that. If you got into politics right now and it was like, Asia Tillison, we're gonna make you the mayor of Wilmington right now. What is the first thing you would do?
Honestly, we have to fund these schools, right? Because there are like policies in place saying that our children have to go to schools, right? We have to fund these schools so they, like, if at this time they do have to go to school, we give them curriculums that really help them to succeed once they leave school, like teaching about financial stuff, teaching about the real world. I feel like that's another thing, right? If I might be a parent, I might even do homeschool for a little bit. And that's just where I start to learn, and my belief system is now, right? But at this time, these systems in place right now for our children, right? So we have to fund these schools because some parents can't be able to home their children and things like that. They don't really have the materials and resources, right? But if we fund these schools to teach them and change some of these curriculums and help them out, have better mental health of people that's working professionals, better teachers, education teachers that's actually passionate. Like a lot of, like my little sister is even going to school to be a teacher, and I'm the social worker. So it's like, it works hand in hand. But so she sees a lot of stuff, and me and her go back and forth about our experiences and what we see currently. But what I do know is a lot of teachers are burnt out, right? A lot of teachers is no longer passionate about the field. So you got kids going and sitting in the classroom, teachers don't even like them. Addition to racism, I currently work in a high school, different population children, and I have minority is black staff and Black children, and they also feel like it's racism that goes on into the school system or the ways things are set up. And me being the person I am, I let them be real, like, you know, you're going to encounter this even when you walk out these doors, but this is what we can do, push forward to make you feel better, right?
Mhm.
But I feel like you have to have that perspective and open mind of like the players of the game. You gotta learn the system, play the game, and then teach your people how to play the game.
Right.
So like if we fund in schools, give them the correct materials so they can learn how to play the game, and then we all good and bring it back to our communities. Because you gotta think about it, it's like one school in each hood and
Yeah.
or city. Like in Wilmington itself is so many different schools. I went to Bancroft Elementary. I'm thankful for the Pritchett's. I'm not sure if you're not. So they did a wonderful job when I went to Bancroft, right? Not only that they made sure, I felt like at the time they made sure it was like a home. If we didn't have clothes, we could go. We had clothes classes because we had to wear uniforms for a couple years.
Right.
They made sure they provided that. We did school trips where we did like family parking type of events and stuff when the family came out. And I know like they had some type of resources connected to kids that actually was going there, and they was beneficial to the community. So we have more schools. Like I don't honestly, from what I'm learning now, it's not like I experienced. I was able to experience that for a couple years. So we could have that mentality going on in each school in the city, and plus change the curriculum, and plus fund it with more books and education and things like that, it will definitely make a change.
Mm. Wow. Listeners listening. I mean, golly, we got a woman on here that is super intelligent, dropping gem after gem after gem, and hopefully, if she does get into the political realm, I would love to see these changes be made because I work in this type of service. I do reentry work. I work probation, but I do the reentry side. So I deal with, you know, how trying to work with those type of organizations and different type of committees trying to get resources to guys that's been incarcerated for so many years, and it's very hard. And resources are so limited in the state of Delaware. Like it's especially for like housing, and you're talking about homelessness, right? Because we talked about that.
Yeah.
Homelessness is something that is affecting Delaware right now that a lot of people are not aware of now. Because if you look, you know, even driving around, even if you're driving in like other cities like Bear or like Middletown, there's homeless people sprouting up like little seeds, like just sprouting because there's nowhere to go. Like the other day, I'm driving, I'm in Bear, I'm by my mother's house, and my mom lives in a pretty well off area. There's a homeless guy at the gas station. I'm like, what? That's never been a thing.
The new Wawa?
About a Wawa, bro, right by the house.
Wow.
So that's something that I think Delaware, it doesn't have a niche in yet. Trying to combat the homelessness issue, because when you don't have places for people to go, what do people do when they have free time or they don't have anything to do? They go to places where they're not necessarily welcome, and they do things that they wouldn't have done if they do have a place to go. So that's one thing that Delaware has to figure out is, where do we put these people that have been incarcerated for 10, 8, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, and their families moved on? They don't have anywhere to go. Where do you put these people? If every homeless shelter, Sunday breakfast mission, Sojourner Troops, the Hope Health Center, all those places are booked. YMCA. Where are you putting them? You know what I mean? Where are they going? You don't know how many times I met guys been incarcerated 5 years talking about, Mr. Officer Lamay, I don't know where I'm gonna go. I don't have anywhere to go. I don't, like, my family's moved on. They in PA now. They in California. Where am I gonna be? Where am I gonna live? And you try to put them in the place that they want to be in, but then you're putting them back in an environment that they don't want to be in. You're putting them back in a place off of Pine Street, off all these places that's kind of like, not, don't get me wrong, like it's not the best in the city, and they don't want to go there because the influences and the dangers in that environment. It's going to re-put them back in that situation. So I think Delaware, they got to come together, like the governor, senators, everybody has to come together to figure out how they're going to combat this issue, because it's an issue it's going to affect everybody from low socioeconomic to high class, especially, and we're dealing with the pandemic, and we're dealing with the opioid crisis. It's so many things that's impacting just that one. So I don't know. I think they got to do something. They got to do something.
I agree. Something needs to be done. And I hope one day I am able to transition more in the political room. Right now I'm just trying to connect and see how I be more helpful and contribute to the community, Wilmington community. itself. And hopefully, you know, a few years, you might see me on some
Yeah,
pamphlets.
I'm rooting for you. We're rooting for you. We're rooting for everybody that we always have come on here. We're always rooting for them. We're always trying to push them to do great things and exceed past their goal set. So if your goal is to enter the political realm, we actually want you to get a seat in the city council. We actually want you to get a seat in the at that table, you know, legislative, whatever, because we want to see you strive and we want to see you say, yo, I was talking about this 5 years ago on a podcast. It actually came true. So we would love to see that. Like affirmation. Me and Smoove, we always say that. We always want to see our guests strive and be great because we're trying to promote positivity, love, and spread that message, and actually support the guests that we have on here all the time. So that's what we try to do. But yeah, so that's all the questions that we have for you, Miss Asia. If you want to drop your social media handles and everything like that, so the guests listening, they can kind of, you know, follow you and see where your journey takes you.
Yes. So my personal IG is __ Asia Medina. And then my professional IGs are the Ultimate Destiny, that's on IG. And then also my workbook IG is the Dream Her Network. But then again, I hope that if I give you the information, you'll be able to send it out or post it also.
No. So when we do the editing, Smoove will do the editing on the video, and then we'll have it all linked in the description box. It'll actually be linked on the video as it's playing on YouTube, so everybody's gonna know where to find you and everything like that. We ain't gonna leave you in the dust now.
All right,
okay.
Awesome.
This has been another great value to the episode Miss Asia has brought. This has been another great episode of Step Into the Light, Step Into the Mic podcast. It's your boy M Dot,
Black Kennedy,
and Miss Asia Tillison herself. Thank you guys. Love and peace, man.